said to Peter Singer before the break that even people on the left are now being destroyed by cancel culture warriors. There's a problem for them too. The latest example is Richard Dawkins. He's probably been the world's most famous agnostic, a favourite of the left back when he was attacking Christianity and battling Catholic leaders and writing huge bestsellers like The Selfish Gene and The God Delusion. Now, back then, 25 years ago, the American Humanist Association gave Dawkins its Humanist of the Year award. A quarter of a century later, it stripped Dawkins of that honour for allegedly demeaning marginalised groups using the guise of scientific discourse. And Dawkins' sin was a tweet that compared trans people to Rachel Dolezal, who was the white civil rights activist who posed as a black woman for years, chose to be black, like our own famous historian. Dawkins tweeted, "Some men choose to identify as women and some women choose to identify as men. You will be vilified if you deny that they literally are what they identify as. Discuss." So basically, it was asking a question. And for that, Dawkins has been stripped of his Humanist of the Year award. Joining me is Rowan Dean, author, editor of The Spectator Australia, Humanist of the Century and host of Outsiders on Sky News every Sunday at 9 a.m. Rowan, your response to this shocking transgression by Richard Dawkins?
Well, I'm hoping that I might pick up that spare humanist award that's now going around. There's obviously going to be sitting in a shelf somewhere or other, and why not? Or you could get it, Andrew. I mean, these things are incredibly valuable. These humanist awards and so on. Everyone should have one. But there's a couple of things here. It does show you how worthless these sorts of awards are. If they're worth giving in the first place, then you should, other than the most egregious circumstances, then obviously someone should keep their award. This is the lunacy of the left now. This is cancel culture. What Dawkins said in his tweet was perfectly acceptable. He drew on the logic of if someone who's not black biologically identifies as black, and that is a controversy, which it was. Do the same rules apply if someone identifies as a male or female, but biologically they are not? Does the same rules apply? Perfectly legitimate question. And he even put in discuss, in other words, which is the classic, the classic thing you put in to tell the class, here's two sides of a debate, or here's a problem to be solved intellectually. Off you go, people, go and solve this intellectual conundrum. For that, he's been cancelled and demonised. And this isn't the first time he's put out these conundrums on Twitter, Andrew. He's put out many of them over the years, and he always gets vilified for them. He did several interesting ones to do with Islam and to do with the Quran, and whether Muslim scholars who'd only ever studied the Quran could legitimately be called scholars because they'd only ever studied one book, this sort of thing. He puts these conundrums out there. We used to call them brain teasers. We used to call them, the opportunity for a good debate. His book, The God Delusion, put out some terrific concepts about whether you could, for example, believe in the mysterious teapot flying around Mars or something or other, and if you believed it, was it true? And he used this as an analogy for God. So he's always put forward these intriguing ideas. He's always asked people to discuss them and debate them, and he has his own viewpoints on them. So we are really in a sad place if that sort of intellectual inquiry or argument is now just verboten. It's gone. You can't say it.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? But listen, look, even if you accept Rowan, because he's also said in the past some hard things on Islam about, the preaching of violence or whatever.
Yeah.
If you accept the American Humanist Society's argument that Richard Dawkins is being mean to the marginalised and that this is just a thing about good manners. If cancel culture is just about good manners, what's wrong with it? Say something mean, you pay the price.
And also, what's ruder than cancelling someone's honour that they had on the mantelpiece there? That's pretty rude to me. Well, this is the problem. And, where you have... not only is Dawkins' tweet a legitimate topic for debate, the reasons they've given for cancelling him make no sense at all. There's no logic in there. There's no. They're basically saying this is if you offend someone, if you say something that can be, it's like a schoolyard almost. If you say something that someone regards as a bit mean, then sorry, you no longer have the right to put that forward as an intellectual debate. So we're reducing debate down to you're allowed to say anything so long as you don't upset someone. Well, that's really, really dangerous.
Yeah, and what I hate about that is, of course, is that it allows the arguments always to be won by someone who's ignorant or unusually, even pathologically or deliberately sensitive. They don't have to engage a brain. They don't have to argue, logically why you're wrong or research the topic. They just need to say, I'm offended, an end of argument.
Exactly.
And it actually rewards the most brainless among us rather than the smartest.